We heard from Syria's deposed dictator Bashar al-Assad today for the first time since his downfall. In a statement purportedly issued by him from Moscow, Assad said he wanted to keep fighting, but that Russia evacuated him out. His words give no clue as to the horrors that continue to emerge day by day in the country he left behind, as thousands of families continue their desperate search for missing loved ones in his regime's mortuaries, prisons and torture chambers. More and more ghastly evidence is being brought to light. Our team in Syria has discovered what appears to be a mass grave close to the capital, Damascus, filled with human remains crammed into bags. A warning, our correspondent John Ray's report contains scenes and eyewitness accounts that you may well find distressing.
A few miles outside Damascus, a high wall and gatehouse guard, it seems at first nothing more than bare earth. But the ground is giving up its secrets. The remains of human beings who were once prisoners of Bashar al-Assad. We can tell you their names. They're written alongside their prison number on the bags that contain their bones. This was a woman, Rad al-Jud, prisoner 125, and prisoner 121, Amir al-Nikri. There are 7 recovered while we watch. Not far away we find a heavily blood-stained blanket and then a shoe with a bullet hole. Riyad Mansour and his brother say the army forced them to help dig trenches here, though he claims he was ignorant of their purpose at the time.
We saw big lorries, they were covered, and there was a very terrible smell coming from them, like something dead. We did not know what was going on.
A decade ago, satellite images show an empty patch of scrubland here. Then work began to transform it. Access roads, service buildings, and long shallow ditches lined with breeze block and covered with soil. By 2017, there are lorries clearly visible at the site. Our own pictures reveal row after row of trenches, each marked by a block of concrete. As close as there is to gravestones, when murder is the routine business of state.
Every grave has 10 bodies, so count how many graves. 10 and 10 and on and on. This area probably has thousands. Thousands.
What we have discovered here is evidence of killing on an industrial scale. These are the remains of mothers, of daughters, of fathers and sons. Perhaps their families are still looking for them. They have apparently been missing for more than 10 years. Local people believe bodies were sent here from the notorious Adra jail nearby. It's a wreck now, its inmates freed by advancing rebels. And we can find no proof in the empty cells and sinister chambers. But we know what happened in places like this from men like Mohammed.
They would hang us off the walls, and with metal pipes they would beat us mercilessly. We were handcuffed and blindfolded. If we died, that would be okay for them.
This was Mohammed, half-starved after 10 months in detention. Still, he counts himself lucky to have survived at all. And you know of many prisoners who were executed as well.
They would bring 70 or 80 people, and they would torture 2 of them to death. And they would tell the rest, if you don't confess to your crime, that's what's going to happen to you.
The week since liberation, Rauda has spent searching for her brother. In a broken land, a tour of mortuaries and hospitals where pictures of the disappeared are posted on walls. Do you think he's still alive?
Sometimes I hope he's dead because of the things I know they did to prisoners. At the same time, I want him to be alive, so our mother can see him before she dies.
It is 8 years since she's seen Riyadh. He left behind a baby son. They know he was still alive 5 months ago in an Assad jail. So we go with them, from hospital to hospital. But there is no trace, no news to give to his family.
What will you tell his little boy?
The day the prisons opened, I told him I'm going to get your father. What can I tell now? That I can't find him? Everybody is waiting to see him. Where did Assad hide him?
There are many thousands of Syrians making this same heartbreaking journey. The answers they seek may well lie here, in the mass graves where Assad and his henchmen buried their murderous secrets.
Now, John, we're seeing more every day, the impacts of what happened under Assad's rule, and it seems we've heard from him for the first time since he fled to Moscow.
Yes, and that at least is being treated with a great deal of derision here, and some doubt that those are the words of Assad himself. Certainly any idea that he planned to stay and fight when the army was deserting him, just as he deserted his country, seems to most people I've spoken to here quite ridiculous. Incidentally, Assad might not be as secure as he would like to be in Russia. President Putin has plenty of good reasons to want to keep good relations with the new authorities here, not least two important and big military bases that the Russians have here. Putin may well be persuaded to keep those bases in return for handing over Assad to justice. And as we saw, Charlene, the evidence against Assad and his henchmen is mounting with every grim discovery here. The problem they have is keeping the evidence intact. There was absolutely no guard at that graveyard, and later we visited a government office which keeps the records of every prisoner from the moment of their arrest to the moment of their execution. Well, that building too was wrecked in the uprising last week. What is urgent now, we're told, is that UN inspectors get out here as a matter of urgency. Tomorrow, incidentally, a British delegation is in town to meet the new authorities. People we still designate officially as terrorists. That is how quick events are unfolding here.